Coming up on CTV News tonight, driving issues caused by yesterday's heavy snowfall, and the dome on the Catholic Basilica comes down. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Kenetta Knight. A number of roads and facilities remain closed today due to yesterday's heavy snowfall. Here's Emily Cooper with the latest.
Hi everyone, hope you're all okay out there with this cold snap. Here's a bit of an update of what's going on around the city. Firstly, you can keep the heaters on because Orion says there were no power issues overnight. And now a number of Hagley Park's Kid Fest activities for today and yesterday have been cancelled. And as of midday, all international flights are operating on a normal schedule at Christchurch International Airport. A couple of international flights landed at the airport at around 9 this morning. The domestic jet gates are all open and many domestic flights are again operating. But travellers are still asked to check with their airlines before coming to the airport. Roads in Christchurch are icy, so motorists are advised to take extreme care when travelling to and from the airport. Now, Canterbury police say driving conditions across the region could remain hazardous for the next 24 hours and are still urging motorists to take extra care on the roads. Road Policing Manager Acting Inspector Glenn Nulder says continuing low temperatures mean snow and ice are unlikely to clear very quickly, and police are continuing to urge motorists to stay off the roads if possible, as it could be at least another day or two before road conditions return to normal. Now, Inspector Nulder says drivers should be especially watchful for that dangerous black ice. Curbside waste collections have also continued as normal today. And Metro bus services aim to restore services today by 11 o'clock, but all buses will be off the roads again by 8 o'clock tonight. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact the council. You can contact the helpline on 347 2800. That's 347 2800. Thank you very much. Keep safe.
The biggest concern for motorists today was ice after snow, rain and freezing conditions overnight. Gracie Fee spoke to an expert to find out how we should be driving in these conditions.
Last night's -5-degree temperatures have turned yesterday's white blanket into a hazardous sheet of ice, putting experts in their element and offering advice.
It's the usual message that we keep getting told: when the conditions change, reduce the speed. Unfortunately, that's the only thing you can do. Engine braking going downhill, very important rather than locking up, because once you've locked up the tyre, you lose all your steering ability. Wherever you're aiming is exactly where you're going.
And if you are unlucky enough to go for a skid,
the secret is to look where you want to go. Don't look at where you don't want to go. Look to where you want to go and just drive there. So that's the safest tip I can give if people do get into trouble in ice.
The best defence, though, prevention.
Just need to slow down, and definitely coming to a stop is always a bit exciting. Use the engine braking a little bit more and really squeeze on the brake pedal, and almost over slow before the intersection. Don't be locking up, going through an intersection or something like that.
And the key to prevention, taking it slow.
People have just got to take their time when travelling. Just take their time if they've got to go to work, and allow extra time to get to work. So that's the safest thing. And if they don't have to travel first thing in the morning, don't travel.
Advice that seems simple yet essential, especially when travelling out of town, which if you are, the warning is to be prepared.
Don't travel on the Alpine passes unless you've got chains in your car. So don't go out on those roads without chains, because you will be stopped and you will be made to fit them. And if you haven't got them, you'll be turned back.
But if there's one tip to remember this week, it's to slow down.
Another major concern after the snow yesterday was for those living in the eastern suburbs, with many residents living without sewerage and roads already badly damaged.
And here you guys, you've been a bit busy.
Flat out, eh? Yeah.
Obviously just the weight of the snow on top of the trees.
Yeah. We can't handle it, eh?
So how many of these sorts of things are you just driving around and finding them, or what's happening?
No, they're getting called in by the police and fire brigade. So we've done about 6 so far, and we've got a bit of a list left.
It's too dangerous to have trucks on the road, so we just got to basically chop it up and leave it for another time, really. You make it safe.
Well, the forecasters said it was going to be snow down to sea level, and as you can see, they were right on this occasion. In fact, looking across to the Banks Peninsula, Sumner, that area, it's obviously right down the whole way. And believe me, it is exceedingly cold down here. We found a local who's actually gone for a walkabout. You are local, you're South Shore?
Yes, that's right.
You don't get snow down to this level very often.
No, not usually.
No, and this beach suddenly disappears under snow.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I guess to a degree, people in the east would be quite happy because it's covering some of the earthquake drama, and it's something for the children to get excited about.
Yeah, it's a change from earthquakes anyway.
What do you think of the snow down on the beach?
It's cool.
It's cool. I think it's colder than cool, but yeah, okay, it's a bit of fun, is it? Have you both been making snowmen and snow creatures?
I made 3.
You've made 3 already? Your hands must be just about numb.
And my gloves are wet.
With the gloves and eggs. We'll let you carry on because the weather's not going to improve, is it?
No.
Is that
So there you are. There's some very, very brave people from South Shore who aren't going to let a bit of snow and sleet and hail stop them on their family walks.
Coming up after the break, the dome on the Catholic Basilica comes down. Welcome back. There's been a few major changes going on inside the 4 avenues. Here's Emily with an update.
A number of buildings have been brought down in the red zone over the past couple of weeks. One, which is not visible from the outside, is the work being done on the Hotel Grand Chancellor. As of last week, the engineering review of the building structure and additional propping is being completed. The protection of Cashel Street using recycled concrete has been complete, and the installation of the remainder of the site fencing has commenced and will be complete over the next few weeks. A 250-tonne crane has been erected and additional timber protection on top of the road protection has also been laid. Work on isolation of building services will commence this week. And the press building, built in 1909 in the square, was demolished last week. The Regent Cinema, also in the square, was pulled down, leaving the iconic dome sitting in the square. Workers in the HSBC building reported dust from these demolitions getting into the air systems of the building. Finally, the contract to demolish the 11-storey Copthorne Hotel in Durham Street has been awarded to local company Lees Engineering. The job is expected to be completed in the next 3 months. Sarah says it's been working closely with the building owner, Millennium and Copthorne Hotels New Zealand, in awarding the demolition tender. Earthquake Recovery Minister Jerry Brownlee says 3 months is a good turnaround time for such a big job. The tender was released to 5 companies which considered both conventional and implosion demolition options. The building will be demolished by mechanical means using high-reach excavator machines. Minister Brownlee says Sarah wants to get these badly damaged buildings down safely and as quickly as possible so more businesses can get back up and running in the CBD.
A lot of work has been going ahead on the Catholic Basilica on Barbados Street since it was badly damaged in February's quake. Finally today, the dome on top of the 106-year-old building was removed.
Nerves of heritage consultants were rattled today as slowly the dome on top of the Catholic Cathedral was taken down.
At the moment the steel ring beam is being lowered to position so that we can strop the timber dome structure to it. Then they're going to lift it slowly upwards and outwards to the side and then onto the ground.
The dome will now be put into storage.
After that we're going to dismantle it, we'll photograph it first, dismantle it and put it into storage so we can rebuild it.
The building is carefully being taken apart in order to restore the building.
We'll then work on the stonework up to sill level. We're going to remove lower that stonework down as well as the windows and slowly work our way down through the building.
She says everything has gone according to plan so far, except for the hold-up after the June shakes and yesterday's snow. Work was originally due to begin on removing the dome yesterday morning.
June, there was a setback in that we had to change our methodology. We were going to lift the dome in one section, copper clad and timber structure all in one go, but because of safety issues we had to change our methodology, work from above instead of below as we were going to do previously. Dismantle slowly and bring it down in pieces now instead.
One business that's still operating out of the Arts Centre says business is steadily picking up as they get discovered in their new location.
One of the real success stories, isn't it? I know it's a place that everybody's been looking for, is the cheesemaker. Where did he get to? Because he had a horrific time on February 22, Martin. Did you ever think you'd get up again?
I think we did, because the building was standing, and so we'd only been open 5 weeks since we'd relocated from our other building. And we were very quickly green stickered. Within a week, this building was green stickered, and we had support from the Arts Centre, who allowed us to come back in and do the repairs, and we were open as soon as Montreal Street opened.
Did you have people in the store then?
We didn't. It was a miserable morning. Yes. If you remember,
yes,
February 27th was a miserable morning. It was raining, and I was cursing because we'd had 5 weeks of busy weeks, and then that morning was the first morning when it was really quiet. We thought, all right, God, that holiday period's gone. People are now not going to come into town because they've realised, it was just a big pile of rubble, and people had lost their lives, and there was lots of sadness. And so, as it happens, it was good, because there was just us. The Arts Centre allowed us to come in with their builders just to recover cheese, which was brilliant.
Yes.
And Carricas, local cheesemakers, allowed us to store cheese at Carricas. And we were ready to go about 9 weeks later. And we buy these cheeses at about a year old and keep them until they're 4 years old.
Oh.
So cheeses like that we would have had for 3.5 years.
Oh, mate.
And we didn't want to lose things like that, because they are, just to be churned into the ground. They're beautiful flavour. 4 years we couldn't replace. So we managed to recover those. But there's a lot of cheeses that are fairly fresh and young.
So you're a lot different from retailers who don't want old stock.
Yeah, we look after, we keep hold of them. And, New Zealand, for most of the last 60, 70 years, have been factory cheesemakers. And the small-scale cheesemakers have been put out of business. The big boys have closed down small. They've regulated them out of the industry. And we've shipped cheese all over the world. But it's not been great cheese. But in the last 20 years, small artisans have, they've discovered again how to make proper cheese. New Zealand, like the rest of the world, are going back to handmade foods. We've got all these computers and we've got all this technology and ingenuity, but people are realising that food's very important, and unless we look after the land and unless we do things properly, then you're losing a lot of these skills that were very important. People are coming in town. They're coming to look at the Arts Centre, which is in a bit of a sorry state, but it's hopefully going to be rebuilt. And they're coming to sit down, have a cup of coffee, a cheese sandwich, take a piece of cheese home.
Well, there we are. Another success story. You don't have to go far. Everybody's doom and gloom and the world's broken down and fallen in, but there are survivors. Some people will do a lot better than they previously had. And this is exactly what we're doing today. We're talking to people who want to make it happen.
Coming up after the break, your local weather. Welcome back. As hoped, yesterday's dumping of snow will bring an extra boost for struggling Canterbury tourism. Last week, Pete Smith spoke to the president of the Hospitality Association of New Zealand's Christchurch branch, Peter Morrison, about the state of Canterbury's hospitality.
Well, we're opposite the dear old Arts Centre, and gee whiz, it's taken a hiding, but we've come to the classic villa. And this is the home, or the business if you like, of the Hospitality Association of New Zealand local Canterbury president. What's the state of the poll in the hospitality industry? How many are closed? Have any new ones open? What's going on? Let's go and talk to Peter Morrison, because I see he's got a vacancy, so it means he must be able to see me. Pete, just looking at the classic villa, it stood up pretty well.
Yeah, it did, considering it was built in 1897, the original part. We did have cracking and things in the old part, but we didn't really have to close at all. If we'd had power and water, we would have stayed open.
Right, and there were guests about?
Yeah, on the day it was full. We were full.
22nd of February.
22nd of February,
yeah.
And we were full. And that night, because there was no, there's nowhere for them to go, so they all stayed that night. Plus, we filled up with some of the people from the Ibis Hotel and the Warner's Hotel, because they were couldn't get in.
And then it must have got to a stage where you had to shut.
We did. The next day we did, because we had no power and water, and you can only flush the toilets a couple of times.
Yeah. And then you reopened in March, mid-March.
16th of March.
Yeah. So when you opened in mid-March, 16th of March.
16th of March.
You're right in your season then, I presume, are you?
Oh yeah, February, March is our busiest months of the year.
Bad timing.
It was bad timing.
How many kept coming?
Well, we had to close till the 16th, but there was a lot of them that still wanted to come because they'd booked. And we lost quite a few because they didn't want to come to Christchurch, but we still had people every night coming through.
And they enjoyed their stay, or?
Yeah. I mean, eventually it's going to be another attraction for Christchurch.
You reckon?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people interested in earthquakes.
Right. Yeah. Did you get any of the service people, those
No, not really.
Or...
No, we didn't have any of the police or EQC or people like that, but we had people coming to try and get business. Yeah. People from Auckland, people from Australia to try and help with the rebuild.
You've got a lovely outlook. You look at the Arts Centre. Yeah. It's sad, isn't it, Pete?
It is sad, yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful building. But
and especially my court theatre across there.
Yes, of course, court theatre. Okay, so moving on from that. Of course, you look the other way, you look at the Strip. Now, you represent the members of Canterbury. How many members have you got approximately?
We've got 320 in Canterbury.
Right.
And in the moment, in the inner city there, we've got 90 closed.
90 closed?
Yeah. And I was lucky last Thursday, Max Bremner and myself and Tim Dearsley, that we've got this Christchurch Hospitality Inc. We managed to get a tour in the red zone last Thursday.
What were your thoughts?
Very sad. And you see heaps of photographs and you see everything else on TV and on the paper and in the photographs, but to actually see it live and the buildings that are gone and how much damage there is, liquefaction, and you don't realise how bad it is till you're actually in there.
So the members are saying to you, show week not a go?
Oh no, show week's a go.
You reckon it's a go?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Oh no, we're still aiming, and Max is on that committee to get the Valentine's and that, what's it called, October 29 start-up or something.
So they call it the Terrace now, don't they, not the Strip?
The Terrace,
Can you see that back in action, Pete?
Not by then, no, but round behind it, Anthony's going to do his Anthony Goff, his Tomato House facilities and for bars and hospitality and cafes and retail and.
Oh, so there's a real confidence.
Yeah, we're aiming. Everyone's still aiming for that date.
Great.
But you've got to aim for something. It might be a few days later or a week later, but
good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got a couple of chums that have opened up around you.
Yep. I mean, there's more opening all the time. I mean, Cooking with Gas was the first one, 2 doors down from us here. And then Tiffany's has opened, the Coffee House in Montreal Street opened on the weekend.
Right, yeah. And people about?
Oh, in the weekends especially.
Yeah.
But every night, Cooking with Gas is full.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of, because there's such a shortage of restaurants, and they are good restaurants, so people come in.
Well, a lot of your members, of course, are out in the suburbs as well.
Yeah.
Every day is Christmas Day for them. They're going, will they come back, do you think, Peter, or will they have settled?
No, I mean, it'll take a while, but they'll come back. I mean, eventually, the business people are going to come back, and the visitor. I've just been doing my annual report, and the visitor industry is so important to Christchurch and Canterbury. I mean, it's huge, millions and billions of dollars. And once we get the hotels reopened in the inner city, they don't want to go out to the suburbs. They'll be using all the new bars and restaurants in the inner city, and they attract locals.
There's a bit of snow around. Has that brought anyone in?
Yeah, definitely.
Good.
Yeah.
You've had people?
Yeah, we've had people, and it's been great. I mean, places like Ashburton, they're over 100% up on last year, their occupancy. So there's always a silver lining for some people.
Yeah, there is indeed. They're all part of your membership.
Yeah, definitely. We're trying to say that to New Zealand and overseas, hey, Christchurch is still open and there's plenty of things to come and do. And if we don't do it, we're going to lose all those attractions we've got, like the Antarctic Centre, the bloody balloons and the Akaroa Cat, because they just won't survive if we don't have visitors coming, because they're all up and going. Yes. Every one of those things are going. There's none of them closed down and being damaged. They just need people.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us at your place, Peter.
No problem. Thank you.
Very enjoyable. And a smiling Peter Morrison. There we are.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
That's CTV News. I'm Kenetta Knight.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.